Okay, hi, I am Lacey Cattell, and this is my teacher that I'm coaching, Erica Smith. She teaches 6th grade math. I observed her lesson recently on mean, medium, mode, and range, and so we're going to talk about what she thought about the lesson. Erica, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst lesson you've taught and 10 being the best, how would you rank that lesson?
Sure. I think it was somewhere around like a 6, maybe 7. I think the students were engaged, but a teacher lesson is as boring as you're going to make it. So I don't necessarily think it was the best lesson. I think they grasped the concept by the end, but there could have been more like room for interactions and just more opportunity for student engagement rather than just a whole group lesson.
Can you kind of walk us through how the whole lesson went, like start to finish?
Yeah, definitely. So we started with a mini lesson, so it wasn't a whole class period by any means. They have a little bit of past experience with mean, medium, mode, and range, so just expanding on that. They start with a mini lesson as a whole group, and then they actually take a pre-test right after. And it has 1 question of each type, so a mean, a median, a mode, and a range question. And then based on their score, they're split into a leveled practice option, and it's actually stations. So they either get a purple if they were a 3 or a 4 on the pretest, or a green if they were a 0, 1, or 2. So the stations are leveled based on their understanding of the concept. So purple kind of get to go and explore on their own and do the stations, while a teacher helps and supports those greens as they go through the stations, because they prove to need a little bit more support. And then after that, the stations, they had more opportunity for like an extension or expanding on options for them to practice. Yeah.
So that sounds really good, but what did you like about the lesson? What do you think went well specifically?
I think I really liked the breakdown of how the students were grouped. I had more students in the higher, the purple, which shows me they got it. They got the concept. I did have a couple of 3s in there where I was questioning the student if they really knew it or if they took a guess, because that 1 error does leave a little bit of leeway for a student
multiple choice.
Right. So they could kind of sneak into the higher group without truly understanding it. So I had a couple of those students where I was like, maybe you should be green. Just had to stay closer to them. But overall, I did have a lot of students in the purple, which was great. And it allowed me to help those green students, the lower of the 2, help me like be able to support them on more of a 1-on-1 or 1-on-2 level. So I thought that went really well. They seemed to understand the concept by the end of the stations as well. So that was great. Yeah.
So you said a 6, right? Is that what you rated it?
Yeah, like 6 to 7.
Okay.
Yep.
So what would you change? What would you have to change to move that lesson to be a little bit closer to a 10?
Yeah. I think a lot of it was independent. I think students could have had more of an opportunity to work together and really collaborate if I would have planned it differently. The stations were done independently after the mini lesson. The options were done independently after the stations. So I really think peer like interaction, collaboration, conversations could have been more. And then I also think the options at the end were more for just extra practice rather than extending their knowledge. Like they could have gone into the next concept, which is like MAD or a 7th grade standard, taking them to the next level, or proved they knew mean, medium, mode, and range by creating something of their own. And maybe that's where the collaboration could have come in. Like maybe I could have created a question and then had you answer it, and because we were both ready for that next level. So I think combining peer interaction with maybe them getting a chance to create their own could have taken it to the next level and maybe made it like an 8, 9 more level.
So so it sounds like you want to do more collaboration amongst the students and also get them to create. So
Right.
thinking at a higher level
Right.
with the material.
Yeah, I think proving they know it by showing me you can create a question, I feel like that's definitely higher thinking. And then having that peer interaction to kind of explain how do you solve my problem,
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Talk through.
Right.
I like that. So would you like that to be your goal, that we target those, really two things, but I think they kind of go together. We can make them
Yeah.
go together.
Yeah, no, I think that would be a good goal for me, because thinking about like all of the lessons I teach, I don't really provide them with that opportunity to.
It's kind of hard in math.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that would be a good goal that's achievable, but also would extend their knowledge and help me grow as a teacher too.
I like that.
Yeah.
So how do you think we could measure that change in your classroom, or that shift, I guess,
Yeah.
to that?
I think for it to be a reasonable goal, I think once a week would be a little much, only because we want to extend them, but I also don't want them to get in the habit of doing it and just being like, oh, let's finish quick so I can make a problem kind of thing. So maybe like planning ahead for quiz review and test review days, like big
Start there.
flex days,
Yeah.
and maybe like once every 2 weeks, try and fit something like that into the options. Yeah, I think that would be more measurable and more attainable for me.
Yeah. I think that would be an easy goal, or
Yeah.
an easier goal to do once every 2 weeks.
Right.
And then, so what are some ideas, or what do you think we could do to hit that goal?
I think it's really going to come down to planning, especially introducing something brand new to students this late in the year. Would take some forefront planning and just making sure they know the expectations, because it's going to be more student led, which is the goal. But with that comes the need for expectations to be set so that students are actually on task with it. So I think some options could be like a Nearpod or a Flipgrid, where maybe instead of me just writing the problem down and handing it to you on a piece of paper, maybe using Flipgrid and a student's presenting a problem, and then other students have the opportunity to respond using their Flipgrid of like how they could solve it, or how, like, what are different ways you could have solved this, or even responding with like feedback on the question and say, hey, this is where I don't think this question was super great, or that was a really good idea of how you presented that. So I think Flipgrid would be a great use, and easy to manage. I think as a teacher I could monitor their responses easy enough on a Flipgrid.
Have you thought about even like having them post in teams too? Like they could post, and then the kids can respond back and forth to each other digitally?
That's definitely true. And we have the what's it called, the classroom whiteboard, like within Teams, that I think it saves, from my understanding. It definitely would take a little bit more of me figuring out, but I think that students can collaborate together on one whiteboard in a class. Teams.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. Like have them working in a group, but they're all on their own laptop, kind of
collaborating.
Yeah, and maybe even like take turns solving a problem, or in some way, shape, or form, like creating a problem. So that could be good.
That would be cool.
But that is in Teams too. And then I think there's like different polls that you can present in Teams. So even for like MMMR specifically, if I were to like redo this, I think a good option would be that whiteboard, and maybe here's a set of data. Each of us take, like, maybe you find mean, I'll find median, mode, range, like if it's a group of 4, and then collaborate on our answers and maybe explain to each other
how we got each.
Right, but I'm seeing your work, so you're not just like saying it in words, but that whiteboard. Yeah.
Okay, so goal is to communicate, or have the kids collaborate rather, more with each other on the content, and create content questions with each other.
Right.
And answer. We're going to try to do it once every 2 weeks, and you're thinking give it to them as an option, or as a after the lesson extension.
Right.
Go deeper into the material.
Yeah.
Option for them.
Right. It could be you met your points for the day and you're ready for that next level, and
I
you
like
just give that as an option.
So your next steps
Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot of just looking at my plans right now and figure out a good day where I'm able to monitor the implementation of it. Because I think the first round, once we do it once, they'll get it. Especially those students who are ready for that next
Right.
level are going to kind of catch on a little bit faster
Right.
to the expectations. So I think I need to look at my plans and come up with a good day to give this option, not only that I can help implement, but also I can plan for and really buckle down on, do I want to use Flipgrid? Do I want to use Teams?
Yeah.
So choosing which direction, because
Yeah.
I think both could be great.
Right.
It's just which topic.
And maybe start just with one.
Right.
Make it easy for them.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, perfect. Thanks, Erica.